Imagine someone who finally does it after a lifetime of being told that pain is private, that you pray about it, push it down, don't air it out. Do the bravest thing you've ever done, book the appointment. And it helps, it really does. For the first time, someone is listening. They have language for things that never had words. This is good. This matters. And yet, months in, sitting in that chair, some quiet part of them notices a gap, something still unfinished, something the room can't quite reach. Now, I need to be careful here because there's a wrong way to hear what I'm about to say. I am not telling you therapy doesn't work. I'm not telling you to skip it. Therapy is real. It's necessary. For a lot of people, it is a thing that saved their life. If that's you, please stay. What I'm asking is something different. What if that gap they felt isn't therapy failing, and it isn't them failing either? What if therapy was simply never built to reach the kind of pain so many of us are actually carrying? If the answer was never therapy or nothing, but therapy plus something we lost. Let's start where most of us actually start, which is silence. In a lot of African homes, a lot of immigrant homes, a lot of homes, period, we don't talk about that. Depression isn't a condition, it's a weakness. Anxiety isn't something to treat, it's something to pray away. To say you're struggling, the people who raised you survived things you can't even imagine, that can feel like kind of ingratitude. How dare you be sad in the life they all bled for? So the pain goes underground. We learn to perform. Fine. We call it being strong. And a whole generation grows up fluent in hiding. And the standard video and the presentation about this, the one you've probably seen, stops right there. It says the problem is stigma. Break the stigma, go to therapy, the end. And look, that message matters. Getting people through that door is genuinely important. If this video does nothing but convince one person that their pain is real and worth tending, that's a win. But I think stigma is the beginning of this conversation, not the end. Let's say you win that fight. You push past everything you were raised to believe. You walk through the door. Something happens on the other side of it that almost no one talks about. That, not the stigma, is what this presentation is actually about. So you made it through the door. You're in the chair. Why does it sometimes feel slightly foreign? Not wrong, just like a beautifully made suit cut for somebody else's body. Nothing wrong with the suit, it just wasn't measured for you. Modern talk therapy grew out of a particular place, with a particular idea baked into it about what a person is. Western thought, for a few centuries now, has built against everything on one assumption that the self is an individual, a separate, bounded unit. So, healing in that frame happens privately between one person and their own mind. The room, behind a closed door, confidential. That model has real strength. But notice the assumption underneath it, that one fundamental unit of human being is the lone individual, and that your problems live inside you. Now think back to the last lesson, Ubuntu. I am because we are. If I am because we are, then I'm not really a separate, bounded unit at all. I'm a node in a web. I'm made of the people around me. And if I'm a node in a web, maybe my pain isn't only inside me either. That's the whole crux of this video. So let me say it plainly. Therapy was designed to heal an individual, but a lot of us don't actually experience ourselves as only individuals. In a healing model aimed at self, you don't fully recognize is going to feel sometimes like it's reaching for someone who isn't quite you. That's the gap in the chair. It's not your therapist failing, it's not you resisting, it's a frame, a beautiful, useful frame that was built for a self that's only half of who you are. Because if the self isn't only individual, then it follows. Your suffering isn't only individual either. Let me name three kinds of pain that on it's all inside you model quietly. Yes. The first is communal. So much of what we carry is tangled up with other people, family patterns, things that were passed down, wounds that happened before you were even born that somehow ended up living in your body. You can spend a year in a room working on your anxiety and slowly realize the anxiety was handed down to you 3 generations deep by people who never had the words for what they were carrying. Healing just the individual leaves the whole web untouched. The second is spiritual. For a lot of us, suffering isn't only a chemical event, it's read through faith, through meaning, through what is this for. The question isn't only what's the mechanism in my brain, it's where is God in this? What is being asked of me? What does this mean? A purely clinical model can feel like it's giving you a very good answer to a question you're not asking. And the third, the one we're most afraid to say out loud, is structural. Some of the weight people carry isn't coming from inside them at all. It's coming from the world. The strain of migration, racism, poverty, being the only one in every room. These are real external forces, and they leave real marks on the mind and the body. There's a quiet risk in a model that treats all distress as something inside you to manage or reframe. It can end up handing you the bill for a wound the world gave you. Sometimes the weight is real, and naming it honestly, that's mine to heal. That part was done to me is it is itself part of getting well. So let me hold the balance here because this cuts both ways. This is not it's all society's fault and you're powerless. That's its own trap and it's just as stuck. There's what's inside you to tend and there's what's outside you to name. The whole picture holds both. Best therapists know this. Many do exactly this work. The point isn't that therapy is blind to it, it's that the frame left on its own tilts toward the inside. And for us, a lot of the story is on the outside. In the web and in the spirit, three kinds of pain: communal, spiritual, structural, which raises the real question. If that's the missing piece, what fills it? The answer is almost embarrassingly simple. If healing got made purely individual, then the missing half is everyone else. For most of human history, healing was never a solo act behind a closed door. It happened in community, elders, faith, ritual, story, being surrounded by people who carried the same history and didn't need you to explain it. Didn't process your own pain alone in your own head. You were held through it. That's Ubuntu again, turned toward health. I am because we are. So I heal because we heal. Wholeness was always something we did together. So let me be clear as I can. I'm not saying ditch therapy for the village. The therapist's office and the village are not rivals. They're two halves of one whole. Therapy gives you what community often can't: the trained, confidential, dedicated space, language, tools, someone whose only job is that hour is you. The village gives you what Therapy often can't. Belonging, continuity, people who know your whole story, shared meaning, the simple medicine of being known. Need both values. The office, the village. The last generation's mistake was stigma, refusing the office. This generation might be making the opposite mistake. We won the fight to get into the room, then we let the village quietly disappear. We traded one half of healing for the other. We are is also the medicine. Same web, both edges. So let me bring this all the way down to the ground. If you're in therapy right now, stay. Don't let one word of this video pull you out of that chair that is helping you. Hear me clearly on that. And don't ask that one chair to carry the entire weight of your healing by itself. Build the other half on purpose. People who know your story, a community, your faith, that's yours. Chosen family. Therapy plus a village beats therapy alone every time. If stigma is still keeping you from the door, take this as gentle permission. Your pain is real. Tending it is not weakness, and it is not ingratitude. It might be the most honoring thing you ever do. So walk through that door and then build your village on the other side of it. Because here's the reframe underneath all of this. Healing was never meant to be a solo project. You were never supposed to do it alone, not in a room by yourself, not in your own head by yourself. Wholeness is communal. It always was. Let's get back to that person in the chair, the one who did the brave thing and still felt the gap. That gap was never therapy failing them. It was never them failing therapy. It was the missing half. The village, the model never accounted for. And that modern life quietly took from all of us. Therapy, it's real. It's necessary. Some of you, it is a thing keeping you here. I will never take that from you. But it was built to heal an individual and you. You are never only an individual. You are a node in a web made of your people, your faith, your history, and a whole world pressing in from the outside. So healing the individual alone is never going to be the whole of it. Go to therapy. Go home to your people. You were never meant to heal alone. Not in your own head. Not in that room either. Find your village. That's the other half. Tamu Academy. Sweet learning for a better world. Thank you.